We created the home for all creative artists in New Jersey to be able to come together and showcase their artwork as different creatives, as well as to meet each other and network with each other and just grow a scene of genuine creative artists who are really there to support each other and build each other up. And then it kind of all just like stopped. My series Underground Developmental is a all-around creative showcase series that showcases different creatives, whether they're musician, painter, designer, photographer, videographer, whatever creative that they are. We give them a platform to actually showcase their work on. I started the series in 2022 because just me as a creative artist, I know that there's not a lot of spaces for actual creatives to showcase their work. And just coming up in the artist scene in New Jersey as a creative a couple years ago, there really wasn't many platforms for any creatives to actually be a part of that's beneficial for their career, to where they could actually grow and be a part of a really genuine scene of artists that support each other. I really started by just going to different shows and trying to be on shows and trying to meet people and film and stuff like that, and it was really difficult. And a lot of the time the shows are really more as though like you have to pay to get on the show, like pay a high price to get on a show, or you just really have to know somebody and just like really be already tapped in. So, and then on top of that, if you did pay to be on a show, I would go on the shows and then people would really not care or pay attention to me as an artist. So it really was not productive in the sense of trying to showcase your work as an artist. When I was first getting started, I didn't really like how the scene was looking and the creative community. I aspired the New Jersey creative community to be more like different cities that I've seen before. Like I fell in love with going to New York shows because just the sheer amount of creatives and artistry and this accessibility to be able to network and be around other people and go to shows and stuff like that is really dope, and kind of similar to like Los Angeles and stuff as well. But I also like, there's also negatives to stuff like that within big cities, because like a lot of the scenes be very clout driven, be very not as genuine or authentic. So what I really wanted to create was something that I've never seen before out of any scene really, and like the actual hub for creative artists who are genuine artists and really creatives who are really focused on supporting other like-minded artists and meeting other like-minded artists and creating that community to where we're all supporting each other and we're all building each other up so that we can all collectively grow together. The series of shows I did before that was more geared for bigger artists. I didn't really like dealing with a lot of bigger artists because of how their mentality was, how the energy was. So I really was dealing with a lot of artists who were more as though for themselves and trying to just only focus on building up themselves really. And what I learned from that was like doing shows that were geared more towards big artists was there are so many smaller artists who want that opportunity to actually grow and get on that stage. So I created a platform strictly for the smaller artists to focus on growing, to focus on getting more developed as an artist, to get to the point where you can be on a bigger stage and you're ready for that platform. I started Underground Developmental in 2022 in September. It was a fairly small show, but even though it was a fairly small show, everybody in the room was on the same time. So therefore I knew that everything was going to go really well and smooth and actually progressively grow because of how on the same page everybody was in the building, as well as the sheer amount of promotion that I implemented within the promotion of the show. I really honed in on trying to attract the right kind of value from people to come to the shows and treat the shows a certain way so that everybody who comes to the shows has the same energy of artists trying to support artists and artists trying to grow, and we're all like-minded artists on the same page and we're all trying to grow our careers together and progressively in a genuine manner. And because I did that, that really attracted a lot of people who are on that same type of time, and I feel like doing a lot of the hosting and really pushing a lot of those values really helped everybody be on that same concept of being in the space and coming to the space to not only showcase what you're doing, but to also show love to what other creatives like you are doing as well, so that it's an ecosystem of creatives helping each other and supporting each other. And it was definitely a hassle, I would say. At first we started doing one show a week. Every single Wednesday we had one show a week, and at that point I was just a full-time event planner at that point, just swamped with doing all of those shows. And as time went along, the shows just got bigger and bigger and more progressively just grew the network of the shows, as well as the sheer level of consistency of the shows, as well as the support within all of the artists, created a lot of growth for a lot of the artists, to where artists who were at the first couple shows, that was their first performance and they weren't really super comfortable being on stage, when it got to around the 10th show and the 11th show, 12th show, those artists were starting to have a lot of people come for them and getting so much better, substantially better. So it was just really amazing to be in. It was amazing to see that, as well as like even myself as an artist, I got a chance to get significantly better in terms of building the community, in terms of my music, in terms of my hosting. So I feel like everything really just developed overall. And I personally never was in an environment like that before, and I've always strived to be in an environment like that, where just surrounded by a lot of different creative artists who are really on the same kind of idea of trying to make this a career, trying to make our passions a career. So it was really something that was incredibly monumental in my life, to actually not only be a part of that, but to have created that and put all of that together, in the sense of the idea behind it and how that idea grew was just amazing. And just the more and more time went along, the more and more people kept coming to the shows, and it really became the hub and the home for so many creative artists who really just saw a gleam of hope just from coming to the shows, in the sense of seeing their career going in an upward trajectory and having more hope that you're actually going to make something out of this, and you're actually going to achieve your goal with your creative art. There was lots of ups and downs throughout the time, like positives and negatives, but I found it beautiful that even though throughout the negatives, everybody, like I said from the beginning, shows like everybody was always on the same page of holding everybody accountable and holding everybody in check of what we're doing at the shows. Like we hold people's actions accountable and have guidelines and rules and values that we hold up, and that everybody holds up, to know that this is the space, this is the idea for the space. Like even the name Underground Developmental steers away a lot of artists who may look at themselves in a higher standpoint than anybody else, like in the sense of sometimes I'll ask artists to be on the shows, and some of them, it would be like, I'm not a developing artist, I'm like the best artist in the world type shit. So that will kind of steer them away, but I kind of like that, because that steers away a lot of the artists that we don't want in this space, because those artists will just come to be for themselves. But the most powerful thing I've ever seen with these shows is just having a space where everybody can unite and just push together, because when that's the case, you go so much farther when it's multiple people actually pushing for the same cause, rather than you always just having to be on yourself and having to be just your top motivator 100% of the time. So I feel as though that was the most powerful experience that I've ever been to, and just being able to see so many artists and performers and creatives that are just so passionate about their work, and just put in so much effort to their work, and just being able to give them a space where they could actually flourish from that and showcase what they're doing in a world where that's not very accessible to do, in the sense of like actually having people in real life, in person, like giving those real life opportunities. So yeah, so I just think that that's an amazing thing that we had going, and just something that's like different and monumental, and like just changes the overall trajectory of everything in terms of the creative scene that was already going on, because that's not a thing for real. Like, that's not a real thing of having that genuine supportive like community of artists and creatives wholeheartedly, and keeping that the actual forefront of the space and of the events. We ended up having 31 shows in Montclair in 2021 and 2022, which was a little over a year. So we had 31 shows in the year. Once we got to the 30s of the shows, like it was really going very well. Like, we were getting opportunities to work with labels and doing sponsorship deals, and just really all around just really pushing the ideas forward with the shows, and like pushing the brand a lot further. And then it stopped. So after the 31st show, the venue that we had the deal with to do the shows decided to not continue any further with shows that involve hip-hop artists because of a negative situation at a different hip-hop show that they had there. So yeah, we had to discontinue from doing the shows there. And then after that, we've been starting on our journey to actually find a new space that we can comfortably house the shows at. And I was incredibly distraught about how that transpired, because like I said, like the shows were something that was incredibly monumental to me, and they were very much everything to me in a sense. So like, just having that not be the case anymore was very hard. It was very difficult to get another venue, because the venue we were doing it at before was affordable, and we could afford that within the budget of the shows. And there's not a lot of other venues that were in our price range as well. So it's just a hard situation to actually figure out. But as time went along, you know, I just really just have gotten more in the mindset of just like everything happens for a reason, as well as actually taking things in stride and pushing forward with everything, because even though it was very hard on me and my mental because of the cancellation of the shows from the venue, there was so much that I was able to actually sit down and conceptualize and look at the shows and try to improve the shows so much more. You know, a big concept of Underground Developmental and myself, a big value of myself is, you know, our main goal for within these showcases is to legitimately help artists turn their creative passions into an actual career, to where they're actually making a living off of their career as a artist. So within that, I never really like to charge artists, especially like a high price for anything, to be honest. And because of that lack of charging for artists, there was a lot of there was a lot of times within the first season of the UD shows that I had to come out of pocket and pay for and lose a lot of money on, because we were not making enough. So just the sheer idea of having to go to a venue that's more expensive it just didn't seem like it was going to work out. Just being able to take that break off of the shows and structure the business properly to where we can make it make sense to not lose money from the shows, and be able to actually get a bigger staff and pay our staff and be sure that everything runs smoothly, is very monumental, that I actually had more time to actually sit down and work out. When I was doing the UD shows, that's literally all I was doing. I just was being an event planner. But I'm also an artist. I make music, I make documentaries, as well as I have to run that show as well. So it's just a lot to juggle. So I very much have found in my time of not having the shows so frequently, or the shows at all, I actually got more time to figure out my balance of everything, and to figure out how I can do everything without one being at the detriment to another, and building more of teams for these things that I'm doing so that I have help doing these things. By the way, if you want to be part of the team, we have applications linked in the description that you guys can apply to. All you gotta do is click on the link in the bio and apply to that. We're building our UD team, so click in the bio for that. Yeah, I started looking at everything like everything happens for a reason, and really just took a lot of time to actually formulate this a lot better, and took a lot of time to look at things and figure out how we can make it so much better for creatives and give creatives so much more value from the things that we're doing with Underground Developmental and with education, with content sources to add on top of the things that we're already doing. And there's so many things and so many ideas that I have that we're about to implement for the upcoming new Underground Developmental shows. So because of that idea of looking at things in a positive way and taking everything in stride, we started developing more of the ideas behind the new season and looking into new venues, and we actually got to a point where we locked in a date for the return of Underground Developmental for July 17th, which is less than a month from now. I'm stressing. It's going to be in Kearny, New Jersey. We just locked in the venue. We're going to go and look at the venue to actually structure everything and figure everything out. And I'm going to document that as well. And now at this point, I'm just working at just developing all the details with everything and really just finalizing everything so that we have a great plan of how we're going to roll out this idea and how we're going to structure everything to make it really the best for all of you creatives, and just make that actual hub for creatives to not only just come to perform but come to build your career literally. And I feel like that's the most beneficial thing, because we all as creatives are just trying to make our passion into a career. And I want to help you guys by doing that, by showcasing the behind the scenes of everything that I do for this showcase, in terms of like structuring it, like how I'm looking at it, how I want to actually help you guys, and just giving you guys as much knowledge and behind the scenes as possible. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you want to see more behind the scenes knowledge and how we structure these UD shows, as well as just so much knowledge in order to how you can structure your career to just grow bigger. I'm a creative myself, so I'm just really trying to grow this series as well. So I appreciate you guys so much for those who actually have supported Underground Developmental. Words can express how much I feel about this show and about this series, and that actually people in real life actually really give a fuck about it, like I've seen it in person. So it's just an amazing thing to have there and to have like the ability to go into. So I was so upset about season 1 ending like that, but I feel like, you know, there's so much that's going to happen, but you can't let anything like really stop you. And what I even was thinking about even to say in this video is kind of like, damn, I wish I had tried to get it going in terms of pick back up at a new venue faster, which I do wish I would have done. But at the same time, it's like I really took time to actually structure this show to where it's the most beneficial for everyone. So I think that's the most important, rather than just trying to rush it so that we got something going. Season 1 was the most monumental creative movement that I've ever seen, and I believe that season 2 is going to really take what we started in season 1 and bring it to so many different levels, and really bring the artist to so many different levels. So if you want to actually substantially grow your career as an artist, I highly advise you to come to Underground Developmental, where our mission is to just take creative artists and turn their passions into a career. And I hope y'all join us on that mission. July 17th, Underground Developmental return. We're gonna have workshops as well. We're gonna have seminars. So we're gonna have those before the actual main shows. So make sure y'all stick around. Underground Developmental Season 2 returns in July. Stay tuned.